Welcome back to the double leg. I'm one half of the show, Hey Job Picks. The other half of the show, the parlay. Joining me in to recap some UFC Vegas 78. Let's get into it. Well, we had 13 fights, tons of finishes, one controversial decision, but a lot of money being made in the double leg premium. On the night, I went up 3.72 units. And if we had some reads that were so close. We were close on we had Bulgarian round one submission at plus 1200. Could have just, took the KO as well and gotten some good plus money there. Tough one there. Fremd almost had the round two sub. I believe both of us were on that. Almost hit that one. And then, of course, we were both on Dawodu with the controversial decision loss. And that's a big unit swing there. So when you're up, multiple units on the night and you had a couple things not go your way, it's always a good night. How'd it go for you?
Yeah, I was up 4.55 units, and same thing as you, man. I feel like all my reads were spot on. I was seeing these fights really, really well. I mean, we got the Terrence McKinney first round KO at plus 300. We went, I think, 4-2 on our money line bets. The only ones we missed was, oh gosh, damn. I don't know why I'm blanking.
Polyana Viana, right?
Yeah, Polyana Viana. And the play that I love, though, is Bulgarian. Me and you almost made it our free play of the week. Cashed that underdog, cashed AJ Dobson, Martin Boudet, Santos in the first fight of the night, just fading. Juliana Miller played out perfectly. So overall, it was such a fun night to play.
Yeah, it was very fun. A lot of fun, exciting fights as well. And we will go through them one by one here. Starting with the main event, Vicente Luque, probably one of the more boring fights of the card. But either way, we were both on Luque, so we were happy to get the win there. I was also on the fight to go the decision. And I'm so pissed I didn't throw Luque by decision at plus 550 in there. I was eyeing it up all week, and I just never didn't play it. But ultimately, it looked like that was some great value there.
Yeah,
and gets it done by decision. He looked more calculated this time around after the brain bleed injury. I kind of had that feeling he would take it a little bit slower and maybe switch up the game plan to more wrestle and grapple heavy, especially against the smaller guy. Pretty much did exactly that. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised at how good Vicente Luque's grappling and stuff was, but I was surprised at how, I guess, much success offensively he had against RDA. I mean, you could tell he was stronger. You could tell he was bigger, and I think he knew that coming in. And so anytime RDA would try to get him up against the cage, he would just reverse it. He'd grab an ankle and he'd drag him down. And, Vicente Luque is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. RDA wasn't going to catch him in a guillotine or anything like that. I think he felt really safe in those positions and, eventually worked to RDA's back. RDA would get back up and, they'd kind of just rinse and repeat there. Overall, man, Vicente took some shots later in the fight that had me a little worried at times. But overall, he fought exactly how he needed to get back in the win column over a guy who is one of the better 155ers we've ever seen. He's fought everybody. I mean, this dude, he didn't beat these guys, but he's fought Leon Edwards, Colby Covington, all these killers. So it was a great win for Luque, especially coming off of getting brutally beaten by Jeff Neal. So a great win for him.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was too confident in that chin to take some shots. But I mean, just listening to interviews before, he was talking about he took 6 months off from any type of sparring at all. So, I mean, what are you going to do if you're training? You're probably going to work the grappling, work the wrestling. So it looked like that paid off for him because I think a lot of people expected Dos Anjos to have more success in that aspect in this one. But Luque put it on him, really. I mean, racked up the takedowns. And anytime that Dos Anjos would look for a takedown, he'd usually reverse or get out of it. Didn't struggle at all on the ground. So good look for him. Co-main event, Cub Swanson, Hakeem Dawodu. This was the controversial decision of the night. I mean, when you have a live line that wide where it's like I saw minus 1050, minus 1500 for Dawodu, it raises some flags as to be like, all right, this should be a robbery. I think Dawodu won. there's a case that he won all 3 rounds. There's a case that Cub, stole a round or 2 here or there. I thought Dawodu won, but either way, Swanson gets the win. I saw so many people that had one leg left on their parlay, and it was Hakeem Dawodu. So, like, part of me is thinking, like, I mean, I get so many people DMing me or even just in our Discord showing me their parlays, like, this one leg didn't hit, and it was Hakeem Dawodu for, like, $5 to turn into, like, 500, like, long shot parlays, just this one leg. Like, part of me is like, come on, did Vegas throw one in here for him? Did they call into Vegas and be like, you gotta give us Cub Swanson a little shot here, otherwise we're gonna be down a ton of money? What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it just surprised the hell out of me that we didn't even get a split decision there. I mean, it was just, I mean, I know it was a close fight. I don't think Cub won, but I mean, the fight was close in a lot of spots. But I mean, the end of round 1, you get Dawodu on top after a somewhat close fight. Both guys landed some good shots. I mean, you got Dawodu kicking the legs off of Cub to where, Cub was struggling there in the later rounds. You could tell his movement wasn't there anymore, and he's notoriously, been bad at eating those leg kicks. So, yeah, just I thought Dawodu obviously landed more strikes, significant strikes in every round if you look at the numbers. So it was surprising that not one judge saw it going Dawodu's way. And especially some judges, one gave Cub the first round, the other gave him the second round. I'm like, how do you give him the second round, honestly? I mean, Dawodu got in a flow. He was looking good. And then, obviously, I don't know what he was watching. Couldn't have been the same fight as us, but super disappointing. Especially, I had him by knockout or decision. I thought that was like lock of the card, honestly. And to see him, get kind of screwed, I guess, by the judges sucked, and it sucked for everybody's bets. I didn't see too many people on Cub Swanson, and if you were, you got lucky, in my opinion. I mean, Cub didn't even think he won, so is what it is. You move on. I feel like we get one of those fights every week, though.
And 4 decisions, and one of them just has to be messed up. But
yeah,
I mean, I tend to favor the guy that's more active, like on the feet.
right.
I mean, there's always the argument of like, all right, well, he's landing a more significant shots, but at a lesser clip. I don't know. I mean, I when I was watching it, I'm like, okay, they're pretty much hitting him at like the same type of like power, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And Dawodu's just doing more. So I would favor him in just about every round. But yeah, I mean, even third round was the consensus for Cub Swanson, and Dawodu still outlanded him by 11 significant strikes. So I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't really get, I don't know. Well,
yeah.
keep her moving though. We got Khalil Roundtree, Chris Dawkins. Might be bye for Chris Dawkins. We'll see. Because it was his first fight down at 205. We just saw Tanner Bozer got on to 205, get knocked out, and still got another fight. So they might give him another one. This is a tough one for him. I think I said it was a tough matchup. We were all saying that, and we basically said if you're taking Chris Dawkins, it's kind of a hope because Khalil's going to find the chin eventually. Will it hold up? Probably not, because Khalil's got big power, and exactly that. Dropped him with that left. Ground and pound is just absurd, unreal. From Khalil, like he looks like he wants to take your head off with every single ground and pound punch. What do you think of it?
Yeah, Dawkins, if he had a chin, like the guy could be a good fighter, and you could see glimpses of it, like right out of the gate, he runs across, gets in his face, and hits Khalil with some pretty big shots. I mean, I was a little nervous there for a minute. I was like, okay, Khalil, you got to put him down before he starts racking up this damage on you. And that's exactly what Khalil did. I mean, he hits like a tank. You're going down to 205 to get away from the heavy hitters, but you're walking right into 205's hardest hitter, one of the hardest hitters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't think Dawkins looked bad up until that moment, but the chin is just not there. I mean, we see this time and time again. That's 4 in a row. No way he stays in the UFC now. There's just nothing for him at this point. I mean, you're getting knocked out by everybody. You're getting knocked out by Curtis Blades, a wrestler who has decent striking. I mean, you're going down a weight class and you're getting knocked out by these dudes now. So yeah, there's just, if I'm him, you got to hang it up. That's a lot of damage because you're taking the shots from the hardest hitters in the world. So yeah, it's got to be over for Chris.
It is crazy because the line kept moving towards Chris's favor as the week went on, but like all the money was on Khalil Roundtree. So when you get that type of thing, it's kind of like a red flag. But it looked pretty trappy. It felt trappy. When you go out there and he gets starched in the first round, it's like, all right, yeah, that's what was supposed to happen.
Yep.
Lucindo Viana getting submitted in the second round. Watching this fight, it looked, I don't know, I wouldn't say like too interesting, but Lucindo looked pretty mature for her age, 21 years old, goes in there and was patient on the feet, was able to get the better of the exchanges with the grappling, ultimately got the submission win. Polyana Viana kind of said it on the previous show. She's round one or bust. She looked decent in round one with the striking, and then she got caught with one. I think it was the start of round two, and then after that, I think the confidence just kind of went down, and then ends up getting submitted. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, looking back, I wish I would have just played the number on Lucindo because I think everybody knows she's a good fighter. She's well-rounded. But it's just being 21 years old or 22 years old, whatever she is, against Viana, who is dangerous wherever this fight goes. I was just banking on the fight hitting the mat at some point early in the fight, and Viana, just showing her there's levels to the grappling, there's levels to this jiu-jitsu game. But she just didn't. Lucindo proved that she's great on the feet, and she's going to submit these girls on the ground too. And she's strong. She's gritty. I think overall she's going to be a really, really good fighter. I don't think Viana's a bad fighter. I just think, I don't know, going forward, I don't think she's making runs at any titles or she's beating the top girls. She's not submission or bust, but you can tell if she gets in there with a striker, she's going to be outclassed. And if she's not able to get on top on the ground, she's going to struggle as well. So kind of sucks. I had to take a chance on her at that big of a dog, but Lucindo's pretty legit.
Yeah, she's pretty good, and she's probably got a very bright future. AJ Dobson, Tafon Shukwi, we were both on Dobson as a dog, gets it done by decision. Looks like he had the first round and the third round.
Yeah.
And then second round was kind of a toss-up. They give it to Shukwi, I believe. But Dobson looked, I don't know. I mean, this fight wasn't like that great overall. It's pretty like stand up, and I'll take one and I'll give you one type of fight. Dobson goes to the ground in the third round to secure it. Gets the win for us. Another one that I was looking at throughout the week, Dobson by decision at plus 500. I didn't play it, but I was eyeing it up. I'm like, I don't think he's going to finish Chukwi, but I do think he could win this fight. That's why we took him as a dog on the money line. That was two plays that from this week that I wish I would have actually played, but I didn't end up playing. But yeah, Dobson gets it done. I don't know. I mean, neither of these guys has probably got too big of a future in the UFC. What do you think?
Yeah, we were on Dobson, and it was one of those fights when they started walking out, I just had a bad feeling. I was like, I'm on the wrong side here. Like, Dobson's going to get beat. And he came out and he took some pretty big shots. And I think that's half the reason, it kind of did get lower volume at times. I think both guys were respecting each other's shots and power and striking. I mean, Dobson's more well-rounded than Nchukwi, and I think he won the fight because Tafon would throw one or two, and Dobson would throw 3 and 4 with a leg kick or, something on the end of his combinations. And I think that just really set him apart in two of those rounds because, I mean, Tafon was landing some big leg kicks in the early going, and that had me nervous because you can only take so much of those from a guy like that who kicks that hard. But overall, like Tafon just kind of slowed down. He didn't throw a lot of volume. And if he would have, I think the fight would have been a lot closer, but happy enough to get the AJ Dobson to cash plus 130. I just thought he was a better, well-rounded fighter, had that wrestling in his back pocket too, and it paid off.
Yeah, that first round when Chukwi comes out and he's grunting every leg kick he throws, I'm like, oh God. Jed Dobson, you got to do something because if this continues, he's just going to get it because he's grunting every time he throws it. You're not. So I'm glad he went to the ground in round 3. Josh Frem, Jamie Pickett. Is this the ultimate goodbye for Jamie Pickett after the loss to Josh Frem? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's got to be. Josh Frem's not a high level guy, and Pickett wasn't really able to make it that close. I mean, it was a boring fight for the most part. Both guys got tired. Neither guy, I guess, Frem had the almost finish in the later rounds with the guillotine. Other than that, man, not a lot happening. I mean, Pickett, if you want to stay in the UFC, I think he had to go out there and he had to win decisively or find a big finish or something. Because there's just nothing. I mean, he doesn't really do anything for the UFC at this point. You can't really put him as a gatekeeper because he's lost how many in a row. It's not like he's still beating half these guys, or guys at the bottom of the division. So yeah, I think it's got to be goodbye Pickett. And for Frem, that was one you had to go out there too and just put it on this dude and get him out of there. Everybody else is and dominating them, and you kind of gassed and weren't looking the best at times in the fight. So I don't know, kind of boring fight.
Yeah, it was a bad fight. You could cut both of these guys.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Frem's last fight on his contract.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of betting on himself to go out there and probably get a finish and get a new contract. But I don't know if he's going to do that after this one, because that was a boring fight for one, and it was against a guy who is probably on his way out of the UFC as well. It's just a classic Jamie Pickett performance. It's like not really throwing much on the feet, a lot of cage control. He gets reversed in round 3. Like he gets the takedown in round 3 and then gets reversed, and then he ends on his back for like the next 2.5 minutes. So just a bad look overall. I don't know how Frem didn't submit him in the second round. One with that guillotine, I guess maybe you could say, because it's just slippery or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then he had that one where it was he was on his feet and he had it looked like he had it locked in, and he was like pushing Jamie Pickett up against the fence, and like you said, he looked like he kind of tapped, but I don't think he ever did.
No, I don't think he did.
And yeah, it was just a bad look there. But one I'll be pissed at for sure, because I called that out. Frem round 2 submission, round 3 had 2 submission attempts in round 2, just couldn't get her done against Jamie Pickett, who's been submitted 4 times. So that's that. Marcus McGee, JP Buys, another man that's probably on his way out. JP Buys getting knocked out once again by the right hand. That is 3 for 4 of his UFC fights getting knocked out. And it only took 1 knockdown this time. So the first fight in the UFC that he's only been knocked down once, or actually I lie. He got knocked down once against Cody Durden, and that was a round 1 KO as well. So back-to-back round 1 KO losses for JP Buys, and a big win for Marcus McGee. I wouldn't really call it that big, but what'd you think?
Yeah, Marcus McGee is legit. First of all, I like watching him fight. He's exciting. He's going to go out there and try to finish everybody. I mean, gets the finish over Journey Newson in his UFC debut on a couple days or maybe a week's notice. I forget what it was exactly. Looked really sharp. Looked like he was in shape for that. And then comes in yesterday, and JP didn't look bad at the beginning of the fight. He was landing a few shots here and there, and McGee's like, "Yeah, we gotta stop that," and hits him with the right hand that was just flush, dead on, like right on the chin, and drops him. And thank God he didn't follow up with a couple of shots, because he'd have probably killed him. I mean, hit him that hard. And yeah, I mean, for JP, I mean, I don't know where you really go from here anymore. Probably getting cut. Marcus McGee, you're on your way up to fighting some legit dudes now, and I mean, he trains with killers too. I think McGee, this could be like the new Aljo Marab at 135 with him and Sean O'Malley. You know what I mean? Like guys that are going to work their ways to the top, and then have to either fight each other or somebody's going to have to move up. You know what I mean? But that division's insane, man. 135 is crazy.
You really think that could be like an Aljo Marab type?
No, I'm not saying like. I'm just saying like 2 guys that, if they keep working, they're going to be at the top of the division. I mean, it's either going to, I'm not saying the skill sets are identical or anything like that, or they're as good as those 2. I'm just saying like, teammates having to fight each other one day. So
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like weirded out, like where Marcus McGee came from. Cause like,
it looks like he's made in a lab, dude.
He's 33 years old and he made his UFC debut this year. Like, he looks really good. He looks really good when he goes out there, and he even went in there saying like, I kind of wanted to knock him out like 1 punch, like just clean, like because he hit him and then he stopped because he knew he was pretty much out and he didn't want to follow up with anything. But it's just he's a weird career. That's what I'm trying to get at here. It's like he started his amateur career in 2012, didn't go pro until 2020, and then since then he's now 8-1. And now he's in the UFC. Like, he's 33 years old. I mean, what is his ceiling? Like, I don't really know how you can really look at that at this point. Like, 33, second fight in the UFC, it's not like he has like 20 fights where he's super experienced. He's still somewhat inexperienced, but he still looks really good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how far he can go, but he is fun to watch for sure. Terrence McKinney, Mike Breeden, another guy that's fun to watch. Getting it done. First round TKO. That looks like it probably should have been. I mean, that's if McKinney wins, it looks like it's always like minus 2,000 in his favor. But if he loses, then he looks like really bad. But
Yeah,
gets it done. I mean, he absorbed like one significant strike the entire fight. Just put it on him. Mike Breeden wanted none of it. Gets the dub. What you think?
yeah. McKinney title run 2023, 2024. That's what he was saying in his post fight. But no, good for him getting back in the win column. I had first round KO. I picked it over the sub because I saw Alexander Hernandez do something really, really similar to Mike Breeden, where he just put the pressure on him from the bell, hit him with some big shots. Breeden was up against the cage and just kind of shelled up. And I thought McKinney could do the same thing because that's his style. He did go for a takedown one time, and it made me nervous because I thought he'd just go down and snatch the neck. But when he didn't get it, I was like, okay, it's over because Breeden is feeling the pressure. McKinney's landing. And McKinney's like one of the best first round fighters in the UFC. I mean, the dude is so explosive. I don't know if he ever drops a first round, honestly. Hits really hard, and he kept it standing and got him out of there. It was a nice hit. Good for McKinney, too. He needed that so bad. If he would have lost to Mike Breeden, it'd probably been over.
Yeah, that would have been really rough. But I mean, if you look at when he loses fights, it's like he goes for the takedown early against Sean Woodson on the Contender Series, wins the first round, comes back second round, probably a little gassed and gets kneed. Same thing with Drew Dober. I mean, he clips him with a bunch, but he also lands 2 takedowns in the first round and ends up losing after he gasses. And then same thing with Bonfim. He has his back for like 2 minutes in the first round. It's knocked out in the second. Same thing with Sadikov. Takes him in the first round, goes into the second round and loses. So maybe just avoid the taking him down because he just gassed himself out. I mean, I would say against Breeden, he looked a little bit more calculated with his
For sure.
He looked like maybe it's just because he knows his opponent wasn't very good and he's like, I could pick him a little bit better. But yeah, always good to see T-Rex get a dub. Dulgarian Francis Marshall, the winner. Isaac Dulgarian, first round. 12 seconds left in the first round. Gets the TKO victory. Impressive. I mean, only absorbed 2 significant strikes. Gets the first takedown he goes for. Strong takedown. Gets him down to the ground. Looks like Marshall could eventually get back up and scramble, but the top pressure from Dulgarian was something. Just let go, too. I mean, smart. Good like fight IQ because he had about a minute, 30 seconds left, and then he really starts going for the finish and gets it done. So, I mean, impressive stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, super impressive. And I took him. I was taking him. I feel like it was a big chance. Like if you're taking him on the money line this week, because he's never been out of the first round. He's only got 5 professional fights. He's got that style where sometimes those guys gas after one round, but we've never seen him past that point. And Francis Marshall, everyone kept talking about he's such a good fighter. He's gonna, stop Isaac here in the second or third round. But I go back and I watch Francis Marshall, and he looked good against Marcel Rojo, who's not in the UFC anymore. And then, didn't really look the best against Gomi. So I'm like, I don't know where people are coming up with this guy as some world beater at all. And, he wasn't going to go out there and offensively take Isaac down and dominate him on the ground because we saw that Dulgarian's, his wrestling's insane, man. That pace, like that double leg he shot, he wasn't anywhere close to Francis. Like, there's no way he should have got that. And he was just so strong and explosive. He ended up getting in close and got him to the ground. And once he was on the ground, I mean, there was like no shot that Francis could get out of that at all. Like he had the control locked in, and like you said, waited till it was the end of the round and just poured it on and got the stoppage. So super impressive. He's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, this was one of them that if you watch the show early in the week, if you watch the video, I think we both took Francis Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I remember this is because I saw a couple of comments today on that video being like, bad pick on Francis Marshall. But in the end, we both took a bet on Isaac Dulgarian, and it worked out. So that's why you join the double A premium, because a lot of times picks will get flipped after you do some more research and look into a little bit more. But keep moving. Martin Budai, Josh Parisian. I think old boy Parisian should hit the road. I'm not gonna lie. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting finished by Martin Buday, it's time to consider finding a new career path. Because I mean, what does Buday even have a? Does he have a finish in the UFC besides that?
I don't believe so. I think it was a technical decision that he like somewhat finished Chris
Yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, a rough one.
Yeah, I mean, getting the sub too. That heavyweight to pull off that submission is, is impressive to me. But yeah, the Parisian just, I don't know, man. He's not good in the least bit. You know, he does finish dudes every now and then. Pause, but I don't know, man. I was all over Buday. I was all over him this week, even at minus 200. I mean, you either knew he was going to go out there and Josh was going to gas, or Martin was just going to hold him up against the cage and take it all the way to decision. Got the finish. We'll take it. Nothing else to really say about that. Parisian sucks. Hate to say it, but he sucks.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, the sad part is they probably keep him around for another couple of months because they just need bodies at heavy.
Yeah.
Like he got 30-27 against Jamal Pogues, and if you watch Jamal Pogues, all he's got is a jab, and like the takedowns aren't even good, and he still landed like four or five of them on Josh Parisian. So yeah, going into this one, I'm like, unless it's some fluke KO by Parisian, like Buday should win this one. I didn't expect him to get the first round finish, but
yeah,
another one that was like it was minus 200, minus 190 somewhere around there, but it was like 90% of the money was on Buday. I'm like, I don't want to get trapped on here, so I didn't go too crazy on it, but got it in the long run. Jacqueline Amorim and Montserrat Ruiz. Holy nuts. Amaram looked pretty damn good. I know Ruiz isn't like some world beater by any mean. Pretty small 115er. I mean, she made Amarim look really big in there. But she held the cardio up because she should have had the first round finish. Goes out there in round 2, does the same thing, round 3. It was just a beating. I mean, that probably could have been a 10-8, 10-8, 10-8, all the way around, or maybe a 10-9 third round, but gets the third round finished by ground and pound. A good win for her. What'd you think?
Yeah, super impressive, especially bouncing back from the Sam Hughes loss. Because I mean, Ruiz can wrestle. She's got that head and arm throw that she likes, and but on the ground, when she's on her back, there's just no like jujitsu there to get out of positions or throw up any submissions or anything. And for Amarim, there is. I mean, she's always looking for something. I don't know if her hands are going to be great on the feet, but if she can just get that girls down to the ground, like she'll beat girls.
She's nasty, yeah.
She is nasty down there. And she's really dominant with her control too. It's not just like her submission game; like her control is on point too. So it was impressive.
That's like Montserrat Ruiz is a 10th planet BJJ girl. Like she's got some pretty good BJJ. You saw it when she almost got her arm snapped. Like she was able to get out.
She's able to defend it. Yeah, like that was pretty locked in.
She has some good BJJ, and Amarim just completely demolished her. Like top control. She couldn't get out from the bottom whatsoever. And when she was on her back, she reversed her like with ease. Ease. It was crazy. Very good performance. And the big question was the cardio because it fell off a cliff in the first round of her debut. She looked good in all 3 rounds there. So she
imagine taking her by TKO round 3. What the odds would have been on that?
That would have been nuts. But good performance by her. Damon Blackshear, Jose Johnson, the Twister, getting it done in the first round. I mean, was not expecting that. I thought Blackshear would probably win a decision and probably sit in the guard, do some ground and pound type of stuff. But Jose Johnson was looking to get out of there, and he got caught with that Twister, and it looked like the whole fight, Jose Johnson was more focused on, going for damage than defending anything. And that caught him eventually. And Blackshear gets the Twister. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, man, I'm a big Damon Blackshear guy. I like him. Even, in his losses, there's times he looks good and he's competing as a plus 400 dog. Like that's the kind of guys I like to put my money on because they're going to make it close even when they're not supposed to win. I mean, once he got on the ground, dude, he is like underrated with his jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't think people realize how damn good he is. And he just showed everybody getting only the 3rd Twister in the UFC history. Yeah, man, I saw some people on Johnson this week and I just thought, with a full camp, it's a little bit interesting, but the skill gap there still is just, even especially on the ground. Like the skill gap's going to be pretty large. So, yeah, Damon Blackshear in the parlay this week, and he cashed with these, man. That was a fun performance to watch.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good. I mean, he's strong,
Yeah,
skilled, he's long. Even going up against a guy like Johnson, who's 6 foot and longer than Blackshear, still handled him pretty well.
oh yeah,
You could tell just when it hit the ground, like Blackshear's got strength, the technique much more than Johnson did, and he put it on him, just like the girl Luana Santos did against Juliana Miller. Killer Miller got killed. What'd you think of that one?
yeah. Oh man, we talked about this on the show, I think, and it talks about it. As the fight got closer, that Juliana Miller took the loss to Veronica Hardy. And on Instagram afterwards, like she was down in the dumps, like depression, which, I feel for her, but it just didn't seem like she was too focused on, becoming that actual killer in the gym and training her ass off for this next fight. You see her, announcing these lower level MMA promotions, doing stuff like that, OnlyFans, all this stuff, like everything but trying to get better at mixed martial arts. And she's still pretty inexperienced professionally for, I know she won tough, but I hate to say it, but it's probably the worst tough winner of all time, like based on what we've seen in the UFC so far. I mean, dude, she came out and she looked decent for about 20 seconds. And then she took one shot from Luana Santos, who's not like a crazy striker. She doesn't have a lot of power, you can tell. Like those shots weren't like powerful. But the second she got touched, it's like that she had that look on her face like she was screwed. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't get the takedowns, couldn't get a hold of her. And every shot that she ate, whether it was just a little jab or not, was just snapping her head back. And she almost looked wobbled after every single shot. So, yeah, congrats to Santos. She's got the looks. She's exactly what the UFC is looking for. I just don't know if she's even that good. Like based on what we saw, I don't. It's hard to tell when you're fighting Juliana Miller. So, congrats to her though. That's what you got to do on your UFC debut. Get a first round stoppage. So,
yeah, I think this was a confirmed theory for me. Is like anybody that wins the Ultimate Fighter now, like in this day and age, means absolutely nothing. Because like all they really care about with the Ultimate Fighter is like, all right, we'll give you the chance. If you can make it through 3 fights, then we'll give you a UFC contract. Well, then you look at a girl like Luana Santos. She didn't have to do any of that. Like they just know she's going to be in the UFC, and she went out there. She handled the onslaught from Miller off the bat. I don't know if that was just Juliana Miller's plan to go out there and maybe look for an early finish because she knew her weight cut wasn't that great and she probably didn't have the cardio, but she couldn't get it. And then, it's just terrible. Like stand up is disgusting to watch. Like Luana Santos doesn't have some crazy stand up, and she was clipping her with a lot of stuff. I mean, no real game plan like at all from Juliana Miller. Walk at her, throw hands. When you're getting hit, just throw back. Like that's just a bad game plan overall. But yeah, Luana Santos gets the win in her debut, and we'll see where she goes from there. Juliana Miller, we'll see where she goes from here as well. But I mean, she's now a 500 fighter in her professional career, 3-3. So there is that. And that's the recap for UFC Vegas 78. You got any more comments on the card overall?
No, just like I said, man, all finishes on the prelims. That's always fun. We hit a lot of bets, though. We hit a lot of bets. I know you and I both had a lot of bets out. And it was a good week for everybody. Everybody in the Discord, if you go look at our IG story, the Double Eggs IG, we have posted just some of the winning tickets. I couldn't get through all of them. There was so many. But people definitely ate in the Discord. Everybody was happy. Regardless of the Hakeem busting everybody's parlays, there was still a lot of money besides that to go around. And we've been killing the pay-per-views. UFC 290, we both hit. 291, we got 292 this weekend. So there's no better time to join the premium than right now, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we got 292 on Saturday, and then we got a Contender Series coming up here in a couple days on Tuesday. We'll be breaking that down in the next video, so stay tuned for that. But if you want to get on the Double Leg Premium, link will be down in the description to do that. You can stay up to date with everything at the Double Leg on Instagram, at HeyJetPicks on the medias for me. Where can they find you?
All social medias at the Parlay MMA.
All right, till the next time, we'll see you later, the Double Leg.